Hi, I'm Sensei Steve Jackowicz. I own and run Classical Martial Arts of Long Island. So I'd like to give a little bit of background about our facility, maybe talk a little bit about myself, and welcome you to come down and try a class. So Classical Martial Arts of Long Island is an interesting place. We got our symbol behind us. As you see it here, it says Classical Martial Arts of Long Island. But also, if you can see down here, it's got a little Japanese warrior, a little Chinese warrior on that side. Now, that's what's one of the things that's unique about us, is that we teach both Japanese and Chinese traditions of martial arts. Now, I've done martial arts since I was 8. I'm not 8 anymore, so I've been in the field for a while. And along the way, I've been lucky, blessed with different teachers from different traditions, both Japanese and Korean and Chinese teachers, as well as some who were Vietnamese and such. And these teachers have been able to teach me things not only about martial technique, but also about life. And so we've tried to put together here in this facility teachings from the different traditions, as well as a lot of the lessons from the mat that can be instilled in someone so they kind of make a better person. Because in many ways, the classical martial arts view is not just to sharpen you into a weapon, which is important because it's a dangerous world, but at the same time, to train the person who has those skills. So the old Japanese saying is, it's easy to sharpen a sword, hard to train a swordsman. So that's kind of the goal in our facility. Now, as I said, I started martial arts when I was a kid, and I trained in many different styles. I was lucky enough to do aspects of Japanese karate, aspects of Japanese aikido, aspects of judo, and have rank in those different systems, as well as study Chinese martial arts and have rank in several Chinese systems. Well, we brought those things together, and here at our facility, we have both the Japanese and Chinese approaches. And you might say, what's the difference? Well, the Japanese movements tend to be very precise and very linear, especially Japanese karate. So when punching, they're very straight, blocking very straight, very linear. Aikido, which is also Japanese, turns and moves and flows. Right? We also teach Yoshinu Jiu-Jitsu, which is Japanese traditional jiu-jitsu from the samurai arts, which is about joint locking and control. Okay? And then also we teach aspects of judo, because I'm also ranked in judo. And we're part of the USJA, United States Judo Association, as well as the ATJA, American Traditional Jiu-Jitsu Association, as well as the World Soshin-Kaikan, which is one of the traditional full contact karate associations. That's our Japanese associations. We're also part of the Yuanmingong Association, which is a international Chinese association. So we also do Chinese Suijiao, which is Chinese wrestling, as well as Shaolin Kung Fu, which is from the Shaolin Temple, as well as Dragon Tiger Kung Fu, and also Wing Chun, which is the system originally studied by Bruce Lee. And so we're part of these larger associations. Now, the Chinese systems, unlike the Japanese systems, move more fluidly, more smoothly, more circularly. Doesn't mean better or worse, but different. So they tend to move very smoothly, circularly, things like that, okay? So those two systems, we teach them in separate classes and separate tracks. They're both analogous in that we teach self-defense in both of them. We teach weapons in both of them, because weapons, traditional weapons, are very important to learn balance and timing and understand the world, the context from which the open hand techniques came. Because traditionally, if you had to protect yourself against someone with a sword or knife or a bat or a staff, you moved a certain way. In the modern day, moving against someone with a gun, someone who has a knife or a stick or a pool cue, well, we draw analogies from the classical martial arts and work on those real-world self-defense techniques. So both of the curriculums teach kicking and punching and throwing and locking and groundwork and stand-up fighting, but in different ways. And they might say, which one should I study? Which one would be fun? Which one would work? The answer is yes. You say, what does that mean? Seems like I'm dodging the answer. But the answer actually means both of them have a path. So both of them have a response and answer. So some people gravitate towards the linear movements, gravitate towards the very kind of almost military Japanese style with the Japanese uniforms and the very strict attention and bowing. Some people gravitate towards that. Other people gravitate more to the Chinese styles, which wears different uniforms and moves in different ways and has a little bit more of a civilian or secular dynamic in how they salute and how they move. Some people like our grappling classes where we do judo or suijiao, right? Or where we do Japanese jiu-jitsu with the joint locks and the takedowns and the holds. Some people prefer that. So we have those. That's why we separate them out into different courses and give this whole, approach where you can come in and study, kind of like a university. Now, if I mention a university, as I can talk about myself a bit, I started out with my undergraduate degree at Harvard and then studied East Asian studies and then went and lived in Korea. I actually went to medical school in Korea and studied traditional East Asian medicine. Wound up getting degrees there, and then coming back and then doing further study here, getting a PhD at Boston University, studying the history of the development of East Asian medicine, and then going on and teaching. And I taught academically for years. Actually, my last post was as the chair of the doctoral program at the University of Bridgeport. And after having a long career in academia, which was great, was wonderful, and in medicine, and actually also working clinically for many years. Then now, having left that, having retired from that, and having a level of success, then opened up this facility, Classical Martial Arts of Long Island. Now, taught martial arts along the way, started teaching aspects of the martial arts back in the late 80s. So I've been doing this for a little while. Taught all sorts of different formats of it. And actually, for a long time, for almost 20 years, volunteered with the Police Activity League here in Long Island, and did that as a public service and taught for free and taught hundreds and hundreds of children. So I have a lot of experience with children, with teenagers, with adults, with self-defense in many formats. Also, I'm even a WKA certified cornerman. I've cornered a couple of amateur MMA fights and such. So I've had that whole range of experience, right? As well as having been a competitor. And I still compete. I compete in that division with the rest of the guys who have to oil the joints and get back on the mat. But actually last year and this year, in the New York Tournament League, I came out as what they call a Super Grand. A Super Grand is someone who placed first in all 4 of the divisions, which is sparring, self-defense, and weapons and open hand forms. So I got a little bit of experience on the mat, and I'd love to share that with you if you're able to come down and try this with us.